My neighbor sold his rental property in March 2020. Sold it fast, below market. Didn't even try to negotiate. He was terrified. COVID was exploding. Economy shutting down. Tenants might stop paying. Property values might crash. He wanted out before he lost everything. I watched him celebrate getting rid of it like he dodged a bullet. 3 months later, real estate prices started climbing. 6 months later, they were up 15%. A year later, his property was worth 40% more than he sold it for. He missed the biggest real estate run in decades because he sold at the exact moment of maximum fear. Meanwhile, my uncle bought 2 properties that same month. He wasn't celebrating, he wasn't fearless, he was actually nervous, but he bought anyway. Why? Because he said something I'll never forget. The best opportunities show up wearing scary masks. When everyone's running away, that's when you walk slowly toward what they're abandoning. That's the fundamental difference. Most people see panic and run. Jewish investors see panic and get curious. Not greedy, not reckless, curious. Because panic creates mispricing. Fear makes people sell good assets for bad reasons. And if you can control your emotions while everyone else loses control, you find opportunities that only exist because other people are panicking. This isn't about being cold or exploiting suffering. It's about recognizing that emotions drive terrible financial decisions, and the person who stays rational when everyone's emotional has an advantage. Today, I'm breaking down exactly how Jewish families find opportunities during panic while everyone else is hiding. Not luck, not insider knowledge. A systematic approach to seeing clearly when fear clouds everyone else's judgment. 5 specific strategies that turn market chaos into wealth-building moments. This will feel uncomfortable. It should, because opportunity during panic always feels wrong at first. But before we dive deep, I need to know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments right now. Paris, Seattle, Mumbai, Buenos Aires, Lagos. I want to see how global this community is because these principles work in every market, every economy, every crisis. Type your city below. Let's map this conversation. First way Jews find opportunities during panic. They stay active when everyone else freezes. Here's what happens to most people during financial panic. They shut down. Stop looking at their accounts. Stop thinking about money. Stop making any decisions. It's psychological protection. If I don't look, if I don't act, I can't make mistakes. But this freeze response means they miss everything. Miss the bottom. Miss the recovery. Miss the opportunities that only exist during chaos. Jewish investors do the opposite. They force themselves to stay engaged, to keep looking, to keep analyzing, because they know opportunity doesn't announce itself. You have to hunt for it, especially when hunting feels terrifying. My dad has this rule. During crisis, he increases his financial media consumption. Not to panic more, to understand more. What's being sold? Why? What's the actual data versus the emotional narrative? Where are the disconnects between fear and fundamentals? He's looking for assets where panic has driven price below value, where fear has created opportunity. Most people can't do this. Their stress response is avoidance. But Jewish families train themselves to lean into discomfort because that's where opportunity lives. This active engagement requires discipline. You're fighting every instinct screaming run away. But the reward is information asymmetry. When everyone else has stopped paying attention, you're gathering intelligence. You're seeing what they're missing. You're identifying opportunities before crowds realize they were opportunities. That head start, that willingness to stay active during panic, it's the foundation of finding opportunities others miss. Second strategy for finding opportunities during panic. Jews ask different questions than everyone else. Most people during crisis ask, how do I protect what I have? Valid question. Important question. But Jewish investors add another question. What's being discarded that still has value? They're not just defending. They're also hunting. They understand that panic creates forced selling. People liquidating not because assets are worthless, but because they're scared or need cash or can't handle volatility. That forced selling creates pricing inefficiency. During 2008 financial crisis, everyone asked, how do I avoid losing money in real estate? Jewish investors I knew asked, which real estate is fundamentally sound but priced like it's worthless? Different question, different outcome. They weren't buying everything. They were selectively identifying quality assets trading at panic prices. Assets with real value, real cash flow, real utility, but priced as if the world was ending. That's the opportunity. Not speculation, not gambling. Identifying value that panic temporarily obscured. This requires knowledge, You can't identify value if you don't understand what you're looking at. So Jewish investors study before crisis hits. They understand real estate fundamentals, business fundamentals, market fundamentals. So when panic distorts prices, they recognize the distortion. They see the gap between price and value. Most people can't see this gap because they never learned what things should cost. They only know what things do cost. That knowledge deficit means they miss opportunities hiding in plain sight. Third way, Jews find opportunities during panic. They have capital ready before panic arrives. This is critical. Most people, when opportunity appears during crisis, they can't act. Why? Because they're fully invested, they're leveraged, they're cash poor. They see the opportunity but can't capitalize on it. Jewish families structure their finances differently. They keep dry powder. Cash reserves, not just emergency funds, opportunity funds. Money specifically set aside to deploy when everyone else is panicking. My uncle keeps 20% of his investment portfolio in cash. Always. People tell him he's leaving returns on the table. That cash is earning nothing while stocks are growing. He doesn't care. Because once every 5 to 10 years, markets panic. Assets go on sale. And he's ready. He deployed that cash in 2008. Made money. Rebuilt the cash. Deployed again in March 2020. Made money. Rebuilt the cash. That cash position isn't costing him opportunity. It's creating opportunity. Because when panic hits, he's buying while everyone else is selling. That timing advantage, that ability to act when others can't, it more than compensates for holding cash during normal times. This requires patience and discipline. You're holding capital that could be working, waiting for moments that might not come for years. Most investors can't handle that. They feel like they're missing out. They deploy everything. And when panic comes, they're trapped. No ammunition. All they can do is watch opportunities pass by. Jewish approach accepts short-term suboptimal performance to maintain long-term optionality. That optionality is priceless during panic. Fourth strategy that separates Jewish investors during panic. They think in decades, not months. Most people during crisis think, how do I survive the next 6 months? Jewish investors think, how will this look in 10 years? That time horizon shift changes everything. If you're thinking 10 years, current panic is noise. Short-term volatility is irrelevant. What matters is buying quality assets at good prices and holding until value is recognized. If you're thinking 6 months, every price movement is terrifying. Every news story is existential. You can't find opportunity because you're too focused on survival. I watched this during COVID crash. People selling everything March 2020 because they were thinking weeks ahead. Will this get worse? Will I lose more? Jewish investors buying because they were thinking decades ahead. In 10 years, will people still need homes, food, healthcare, technology? Yes. Then quality companies in those sectors trading at 50% discounts are opportunities, not threats. Different time horizon, different emotional state, different actions. This long-term thinking also removes pressure to time things perfectly. You're not trying to catch the bottom. You're building positions over time. You buy some now. If it drops, you buy more. If it rises, you hold what you bought. Time diversifies your entry point, removes the stress of being perfectly right. And over decades, being approximately right at good prices beats being perfectly right at any single moment. Fifth way Jewish families find opportunities during panic. They involve community in decision-making. This seems counterintuitive. Isn't investing personal? Shouldn't you make your own choices? Jewish approach says no. Your community is your greatest asset during panic. Why? Because panic is emotional contagion. When you're alone with fear, fear wins. But when you're discussing opportunities with people who've survived previous panics, who can offer perspective, who can challenge your assumptions, you make better decisions. Jewish investors don't invest in isolation. They discuss. They debate. They pressure test ideas. Someone says, I'm thinking about buying this property. The community responds, what's the cash flow? What's the location? What could go wrong? That collective due diligence catches blind spots, prevents mistakes driven by fear of missing out, creates accountability that keeps individuals from doing something stupid just because it feels like opportunity. This also provides emotional support. Panic is lonely. When you're buying while everyone's selling, you feel crazy. But when you're part of a community that understands the strategy, that's done this before, that can confirm you're being rational, not reckless, you can execute. Community provides the psychological safety needed to act during maximum discomfort. That's invaluable. You can't buy that. You can only build it through years of relationship and trust. Let me synthesize this. Jewish investors find opportunities during panic not through superior intelligence, but through preparation, perspective, and discipline. They stay active when others freeze. They ask what's valuable, rather than just what's safe. They maintain capital specifically for panic moments. They think in decades, not months. They leverage community for decision-making and emotional support. These aren't secrets. They're practices. Practices anyone can adopt. Finding opportunity during panic isn't natural. Every instinct says protect, hide, conserve. But wealth is built by doing what's uncomfortable when it's most uncomfortable. By seeing clearly when everyone else's vision is clouded by emotion. By acting when everyone else is paralyzed. That requires training yourself before panic arrives. Building cash reserves. Developing knowledge. Creating community. Practicing long-term thinking. So, when panic comes, and it always comes, you're ready to walk toward what everyone else is running from. Now tell me in comments, have you ever found an opportunity during a crisis? Or missed one because you were too scared? Share the story. What did you learn? This community grows through real experiences. Drop it below now. Hit like because someone watching needs to know panic creates opportunity, not just danger. Subscribe because next video reveals the Jewish wealth practice that sounds ruthless, but actually protects everyone involved. It challenges how you think about money and relationships.